normal functionary person from DMK, what he spoke on a public platform about me and my other three colleagues, especially about me. He called four of us as items, which probably in some speech or the way you converse with people, it comes across as prostitutes. So this is something which is not acceptable. And I want this man, this functionary who was there, a very mere functionary person there, a member of DMK, I want him to be expelled from the party. And I want the minister to apologize to me that this has happened in his presence. Until I don't get both, I'm not going to sit quiet because I'm making this big. Anywhere, a woman cannot be spoken in this language. Or you cannot, nobody has given you that right to speak about a woman in that manner, to defame her, to insult her, to rip her dignity apart. Nobody has given you that right to do it. I mean, I don't give that right to my husband of 28 years. Why the hell would I give it to somebody else?
DMK leader sexist remarks against actor politician Khushbu Sundar and three other women leaders at the BJP has once again highlighted how casual sexism has been normalized across political lines. But would really anything change in this environment when we have the rapists of Bilkis Banu out freed, or whether somebody like a murder and rape convict Ram Rahim is out on parole just because elections are around the corner, or even if somebody like Shrikant Tyagi, who assaulted a woman once but is garlanded when he comes out? Will anything really change in this environment? I spoke exclusively with Khushbu Sundar, who says that when even one person stays the fight, it is good enough. Khushbu, thanks so much for joining me today. It's been, it's one after the other now, the remarks by the DMK leader against you and other members of your party, women members of your party. It seems like, in politics, this casual sexism is just getting normalized and normalized.
Absolutely, Jyotsna. In fact, it's not the first time this has happened. It has happened in the past. But I just hope that it ends with this, because nobody has made a hue and cry. The problem probably lies with us because we always let it pass. We don't want to make it big, and we say that कीचड़ में पत्थर फेंकोगे तो कीचड़ अपने ऊपर ही उड़ेगा. So we always think that, okay, no point in giving them the undue, the kind of publicity they are looking at, probably 2-minute fame. So let's not give them that and let it pass. But then over a period of time, it has been going on and on and on, and it's adding on. So, and this is a time what this man from DMK, a very normal functionary person from DMK, what he spoke on a public platform about me and my other three colleagues, especially about me. He called four of us as items, which probably in some speech or the way you converse with people, it comes across as prostitutes. And then he called me very openly on a dais with the sitting tourism minister from DMK, saying that I was a slut. So this is something which is not acceptable. And he very openly said that, this woman and my younger brother, my brother has done with her a couple of times, 5 or 6 times. So, that came as a rude shock, because here I am, a woman, a self-made woman, where I go to any extent to protect my integrity and my respectability, my dignity. And he speaks in such a manner about me on stage. And what is more appalling is the minister, and that to a cultural minister, tourism cultural minister, sitting there and smug smile on his face. He's enjoying the talks. He is not even ashamed that something like this has been spoken about a woman in your presence. He hasn't issued an apology. He hasn't spoken a word about it. But he is sitting very smartly, and my chief minister, he was unwell, quite understandable, but then I'm sure that the other government works do happen. He could have spoken about this, or at least asked the minister to apologize. Nothing of that has come in so far.
And an apology isn't enough, is it?
No, it is not. It is definitely not enough. I mean, I want this man, this functionary who was there, a very mere functionary person there, a member of DMK, I want him to be expelled from the party. And I want the minister to to apologize to me that this has happened in his presence. Until I don't get both, I'm not going to sit quiet because I'm making this big. I mean, on a platform today, I sit here, and it's not easy for me to say every time that, when I'm speaking to people as to what was spoken, because it was spoken in Tamil. So, a lot of people do not understand what was spoken. So it's not easy for me to say that I was called a slut, I was called a prostitute, I was called a whore who was easily available or probably would have gone out. Because I can also speak in that language, but I will not defame or degrade my upbringing, or insult my mother in return for that matter. My mother has installed some values in me, so I'm not going to stoop to that level and give them an answer back. But I am going to fight this out, and I want this to be stopped. I want nobody, whether across any political, lines, or any profession for that matter. Anywhere, a woman cannot be spoken in this language, or you cannot. Nobody has given you that right to speak about a woman in that manner, to defame her, to insult her, to rip her dignity apart. Nobody has given you that right to do it. I mean, I don't give that right to my husband of 28 years. Why the hell would I give it to somebody else? So my dignity, my respectability is extremely important to me, and I'm not going to keep quiet, because I am going all the way, and I will make sure that this man is expelled and the minister apologizes to me.
So, we've always been a predominantly misogynist society, a very patriarchal society, but one would think that over time things would change. But the sense is, and also across the political class, I mean, whether it's you or Mamata Banerjee or any other woman politician, Supriya Sule recently, the sense is that the men are getting more and more emboldened to say what they want to very casually. What is the way out?
That's what I said, Jyotsna, because we don't react to it. We said, let it pass. We don't want to react to it. We don't want to stoop to their level. But सीधी उंगली से घी नहीं निकलता है, तो उंगली को टेढ़ी करनी पड़ती है. And if I have to do that, I'm ready to do it. Because this needs to stop. It's not about Mamata Banerjee. It's not about Supriya Sule. It's not about me. It's not about Gautami or my other colleagues. It's not about what someone spoke about our Honorable President, Her Excellency Draupadi Murmu. They said Rashtra Patni, and then they said she doesn't know anything about it. She doesn't have class. She comes from an Adivasi background. I mean, you don't do that about a woman. You don't do that. So, that's why I said across any political party, whether it's my party or any other party for that matter, nobody gives you the right to insult a woman to speak. And the minute you start talking about a woman, it just shows how scared you are of this particular woman, because she is way ahead of you. That is why these men with the insecurity in them, it comes out so clearly, because they do not know what else to do. They don't have anything else to talk. So the thing is, insult a woman. That is fine, because koi puchne wala hai nahi, nobody's going to raise a question about it. So insult a woman, and that's perfectly fine. And this is where I think it's high time we collectively come together and say, let's put a full stop to this.
So what about support? I mean, we saw Kanimohi immediately coming out and tweeting in support of you, and totally condemning what had happened. What about support across your party, or women across the political divide?
There are people who probably don't want to say that they have been supporting me on a social platform, but people I know, they have texted me in person, privately they have texted me, they have extended their support. They said, no, it's a fight, you have to fight it out. My party has been extremely supportive. My state president has given a press conference, and he said, we are going to take it up. JP Nadda ji, our national president, has spoken to our state president and said, we need to take this forward. We cannot let this pass. And it's 500 people have filed a complaint against the speaker, and as well as the minister in Women's Commission. And I'm personally finding my capacity, I'm filing a case, and also reaching out to Women Commission. So there's been extreme help from others, and everyone says that this needs to stop. You cannot go on. What is more appalling and what is more worrying is, people who are in the opposition, they say, okay, somebody did this, that's why this is justified. No, even that was not justified. Even this is not justified. Nothing is justified. You want to attack, you attack directly. You attack ideologically. You attack when the policies are there. If you think politically, if somebody is failing somewhere, you attack them. You don't make personal attacks on women in the party, or you don't make personal attacks against women who are successful, who are way beyond you. Even my cultural minister, who we are talking about, the tourism minister, if he walks down the street, nobody would know who he is. Nobody even going to give him a second look. But if I walk out of my house, people know who I am. So, these kind of insecurities these men have, okay, they are not known, but women are known. All the 4 women who they have named, they're known to the people. And me, especially when I come out, the kind of respect I garner, this is something which they're not able to digest. And I want to put a full stop to that. Because when I came to Chennai, I was a nobody. I have slogged for long to come to this position. Nobody can take away my my success or my credibility and say that this is because of us. No, I have worked hard for this, and I am not going to let it go just because somebody wants to call me a slut. No, I will not. I will not do it.
And you absolutely shouldn't. Khushbu, perhaps one of the reasons I think we're struggling with this is also because of women representation in parliament. Would that kind of and that's telling. Those numbers are always telling. Would that impact these kind of conversations if things were to change for the better?
No, Jyotsna. I mean, you look at this now. It's me. I'm fighting it out. How many women go through this, and how many women have the courage to speak out? How many women have the courage to fight this? How many women have the support of the family? I have a huge support of my family, my husband, my children, and my close friends. They're there right behind me. Rock solid support I have. How many women find this support? So the problem is, the minute this kind of issue comes up, then the other women who are thinking of coming into politics, they take up 2 steps back. They say, "Yaar, we don't want to face this. It's a family. We don't want to embarrass them. We don't want to bring them, put them in trouble, or I don't want somebody." Speaking about me in this manner, so I don't want to be part of politics. It is actually dirty. There are losers like these people who have been speaking about women. They create that fear among women that don't come to politics. It is male dominated, and this is how you'll be insulted if you are going to step ahead of us. So it's all zeroes it down to where these men are so insecure. They know they are good for nothing. And all they know is to insult a woman. And my question to everyone, whoever insults a woman, my question to them remains the same. If this is how your patriarchy, misogynist mindset, and when you make these kind of cheap, sexiest comments, do you speak in the same language to the women in your home? Because your mindset shows that your upbringing has been absolutely zilch, with no respect towards women. Your mother has been subjected to this kind of abuse, sexual and verbal abuse. You have witnessed that. You have seen your mother or the other women in your family being silent when these kind of abuse were hurled at them. And that is why these men think it's fine to abuse a woman in public. So everything brings it down. It boils down to one point, that their upbringing, when you look at it, the kind of toxic atmosphere and the environment they have been brought up. So I want women to come into politics, but there are men like them who actually put brakes on them, on the women who think of coming to politics, and say, no, you don't come into politics because this is how it's going to be.
And it's also the fact that they get away unpunished, and it's a matter of headlines 24 hours के बाद कोई याद नहीं करता.
बिल्कुल, because कोई और प्रॉब्लम आ जाता है ना आपके पास.
And in this, and this is the environment. It's not just politics, Khushbu. I mean, in this environment, we've seen what has happened with the rapists and murderers of Bilkis Bano or Ram Rahim. He's out, or that Srikant Tyagi, after molesting or assaulting a woman, has been garlanded. What do you really tell the women out there? How do they
When
speak?
Bilkis Bano issue came up, I was so hurt. And I'm the first person, who spoke, and I was so emotional about it. I spoke my heart out because this is not accepted. As a woman, I don't accept this. I feel what that woman would have been through. I completely understand the pain that woman would have been through. Any woman for that matter, any child for that matter, any abuse leaves a scar on your mind and your soul for lifelong. It leaves, trust me, it does. So why are you subjecting a woman to this kind of an abuse where it leaves a scar on her soul? How can she have a very peaceful sleep? How can she lead a very normal life? It's not possible. So I definitely do not appreciate. It could be any party. It's not politics alone. I think any platform for that matter. I mean, very recently you saw the one very 20-year-old young boy in Tamil Nadu. He pushed one young girl in front of a running train because he was a stalker. She refused to accept his love. I mean, what what kind of mentality do these people have? What kind of mentality do this? True love, I feel, will never hurt you. It'll let you go. But the kind of the kind of, again, I would say the society pressures, the peer pressures that you need to be seen, you need to be heard. I mean, how long can you go on like this? So to me, anything which is against a woman is not acceptable. And it's not about me myself, because this fight is not about me alone. This fight is, I think, for every woman. I want them to garner strength. I want them to learn that no, we need to stand up and we need to fight. Because if we do not fight for ourselves, if we do not stand up for ourselves, nobody else will. Because everybody is busy with their own work in their own world. Turning around and giving 2 minutes to something that, okay, probably this person needs help, is not going to strike to anybody. I have seen it. When I was in a problem in 2005, barring 2-3 people, nobody stood by me. For me, that probably this person is going to stand by me. They have hurt me the most when I realized that they were never around. And they just pushed away. They said, we have nothing to do. It is something very personal. It is her statements and we have nothing to do with this. So I have seen that. I have seen that pain. I have seen that hurt. So today, I'm not expecting anybody to come and jump in my support. No, it's my fight. I'll fight it out. But for me, it's important that every woman stands up for her own dignity and her respectability. Because if she doesn't, nobody else will.
What about your family? When, your daughters, what do they say? They must get upset. Do they get upset when things like this come out, or how do they react?
See, my girls are today 22 and 19 plus. My younger one will be 20 in Jan. And the older one is, in her, she just finished 22. So for me, I have to be a shining example to my daughters. When there's a problem, my mother stood up, not for herself, but for the women around the world. And I cannot leave an impression to my girls where they might think that, tomorrow somebody else abuses them. They might think that it's okay because Amma was quiet. So probably we have to remain quiet. And I know my girls very well. Had I remained quiet, they would have questioned me. They are not questioning me. It's because they know, they read and they hear everything. And so they know what Amma is doing is right. Had I been quiet, not spoken on this issue, I know both my girls will be the first person to call up and say, what the hell are you doing, Amma? Why are you quiet on this issue? That is how my girls are. So I think I have to do it for my daughters too, because I have to set an example for them.
And I think, that they're, in a sense, they're lucky. Our girls are lucky because, we don't keep quiet and we speak up. But in a lot of families, the girls are, they've been told, chhod do, don't get into a musibat. Why are you taking this panga? What do we tell those parents? The girls may want to speak up, aajkal.
I think the parents should, come out and tell their daughters, go fight it out. जो होगा देखा जाएगा, but fight it out. It has to be an intelligent fight. Probably they might feel that I'm privileged, I have the platform, so I fight it out. But no, for the right, when you have to fight between the right and wrong, right is going to win. You might have to face difficulties, but at least you know that you have stood up for your own dignity. And tomorrow, you will walk with your head held high. You're not going to shrink, in shame. And that is something which is not at all acceptable to me. I didn't accept it from my dad, and I didn't see him for 36 long years. I didn't even go when he died. Okay? Because I know the kind of abuse my mom went through, and I know the kind of abuse I went through as a child, and the kind of insults and humiliation we all went through. So when I could stay away from my father for 36 long years, I think I have enough courage to fight men like them who think it's easy to insult a woman and get away with it. No, it's not. At least they're knocking at the wrong door, that they should know.
Fair enough. I'm just going to let you go, Khushbu, but you'd mentioned एक चीज और about society just a little bit earlier. The kind of aggression आजकल जो society में है, everybody is out to slap each other, hit each other, or how do we tackle that? Because it seems like everyone's on a short fuse these days, and at the end of it, it all comes down on that lack of respect for a woman. Then
yes, I think men take very sadistic pleasures in hitting a woman or hitting out at a woman. I think today's kids do not have something called patience and perseverance. Even the relationships, when you see them falling apart, I think it's basically, yaar, if it works out, theek hai yaar, warna chhod na, dusra kuch dekh lenge. I think they do not think that you need to work on a relationship. It's always a give and take policy. Not always the woman is wrong. But I think there are times when you have to give. I say in every marriage for me, been with my husband for 28 long years, legally married for 23 long years. And I think it's always a give and take policy. I don't use the word I have compromised. I use the word saying that I have adjusted, because to me, my family is important. And I've seen the changes in my husband too in these 28 long years, from what he was when we were dating, from what he was when we were newly married. And over these 23 years, how he has changed, how he has adjusted to my likes and dislikes, how he has sobered down. My husband has got a short fuse. I mean, he doesn't get angry, but he does. Then he's like, boom, and the volcano erupts. Fortunately, he's not an abusive husband, but he can be volatile. He can scream his head off where people can hear him on the streets. But he has mellowed down over a period of time. My bad habit where, to get my point right, probably I would always answer back, which infuriated him more. And I have sobered down. I'm like, let him finish. Let him be out with his anger. Then I can put my point later when he's in a better mood. So I have changed myself. My husband has changed himself. He's there. He's listening to me. He's listening to the children. Now we have two girls. We need to talk about their future. There are times where as parents, we don't come to an agreement about the girls. But then I find a position, where I can explain it to him and he understands. So any relationship for that matter, you need to give time and you need to make this little adjustments, which in today's generation, probably they're not ready to do that. So I don't know. All I would like to tell, I have two girls who are growing up, probably in another 4-5 years time, they might get married. And all I'd say is give time. Relationships don't work overnight. At least, I fell in love with my husband. I knew him for 5 long years before I got married. But then I have known couples who have been married for like donkey's years. They're celebrating 75th wedding anniversaries and they were absolute strangers when they got married. So, I think it's just that you need to understand each other. That's important.
I'm going to leave you at that, but going to round this up with what we actually began with and what you have been, your voice, leading out your voice on an issue that is just so crucial, Khushbu, to keep calling out this kind of sexism. And as you said, if it's your fight, it's your fight, but at least you're fighting. And I think that's the way to go. Everybody says it takes a village, but sometimes it just takes one person to not let go for others to join it, right?
Yeah, I want, if in this fight, if there's one woman who is inspired and says that, no, tomorrow if she's wrong, she'll say that I need to fight this out because if Khushbu could do it, I will do it. I think that's where I think that I have succeeded. Even if I inspire one woman to take it forward.
And I hope you do. I'm sure you will actually. And I hope you take this to the rightful conclusion. Khushbu Sundar, thank you so much for speaking to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jyotsna.